We thought we knew the races of this world, but what if I told you there are ancient races hiding in plain sight, and some of them were never meant to exist? Yuno's elf soul actually gets granted one of the legendary beings born from the 4 classical elements. We're talking Sylph, Salamander, and Udine. In Black Clover, these aren't just fairy tales, they're real creatures made entirely of mana. Once bonded, a mage's power skyrockets, but it's more than just a buff, it's a partnership. The deeper the bond, the more insane their magic becomes, and when their synchronization hits 100%, they unlock Saint Stage, holy magic that can literally purify devils. But guess what? Only attack mages can access that power, so sorry if you're a healer or you're born with shit powers, if you know what I'm saying. Which is most likely because you know how it is in Black Clover. Anyway, if you can remember, Belle started as a goofy little gremlin on Yuno's shoulder, but evolved into a full-on wind queen that has the Gunners going to prison, because when they saw that banner, they were wilding and tripping out. Essentially, Yuno's bond with her deepened as he gave her a name. Yuno could now cast spirit magic without chanting and unlocked its full power, slicing through devils with holy wind blades. But spirits can also move on, choosing new wielders or being passed down like Udine in the Heart Kingdom royal line. She served the Heart Kingdom for 1200 years, bonding with queens and raising Lola Pachica like her own daughter. But then Megecula happened and she ruined the whole vibes and everything that was at peace. Lola Pachica was cursed. Udine was devastated, but trained Noelle in secret. So during the war, Megecula cursed Udine too and said, bitch, you're gonna die as well. So it broke the contract that she had with the Heart Queen. So she had to transfer her powers to Noelle, who used it to unlock Saint Stage. In the final battle, Udine fought beside Noelle, Garja, and Asta to pierce the devil's heart and finally free Lola Pachica. Now Salamander over there, he hasn't said a word since the series started, and he was first shown to us with Fana, the elf, burning everything in sight. But when she was defeated and remembered her true self, the spirit vanished, only to return for Fueguelion. Now Salamander helps him melt devils, roast dark disciples, but that's it. We don't get to see more because in truth, this guy's name is Fraudgolion. He is a fraud. He didn't even unlock Spirit Dive or do anything useful. But let's move on to another mysterious and underrated race in all of Black Clover, the Dwarves. First confirmed in chapter 194, and even then, they were treated like ancient folklore according to Noelle and Mimosa, something you'd only hear about in bedtime stories or forgotten history books. But then, boom, Tabara drops the bomb that Charmy is half dwarf, and suddenly we understand why she's one of the most overpowered characters in the entire story. She literally cooks up meals that restore mana, transforms mid-battle, and summons a magical beast that devours magic. But why are dwarves so rare, ABD? Well, in chapter 252, the Heart Queen reveals a key piece of lore. 90% of humanity was wiped out 800 years ago during the first devil invasion. That war didn't just kill people, it nearly erased entire races. So it's heavily implied that the dwarves were nearly driven to extinction or are hiding. The ancient elf in chapter 194 even mentions he's felt this type of dwarf magic before, meaning that they were more active 500 years ago, even allies in that ancient war against the devils that I mentioned. Tabata confirms this with Lumiere in chapter 204. He states he only read about devils in an old history book, so the only logical way that info could have been preserved is through the survivors of that first war 800 years ago, since there would be a 300-year gap. That means humans, elves, and dwarves work together. And here's where it gets even crazier. Charmy's powers are deeply tied to mythology. Her wolf is Fenrir from Norse mythology, and in that folklore, dwarves are linked to food and harvest. People would leave offerings for them, but if you disrespected food, they'd curse your livestock or spoil your meal. That's exactly what happens in chapter 194 and 195, when Charmy goes berserk after the ancient elf disrespects food. She says she's going to pound the importance of eating into him. Oh, and one last thing. Dwarves are said to live underground, hidden from human eyes. That's why they're barely seen. Unlike the next race that wish they were, the elves are beings blessed by mana itself. They could fly, live for centuries, and cast massive spells without breaking a sweat. They built a peaceful utopia deep in the Forsaken Realm, living in harmony near Hodge Village. Now, in those ancient times, the humans looked at the elves as if they were gods. I mean, Licht even told us that elves were the ones that helped humans against natural disasters and watched them grow as a civilization. Well, that was until envy crept in. The royals ruled humans for centuries, and with time kept getting more corrupt and furthering the inequality. However, Licht promised Veto that one day elves and humans would understand each other. He didn't believe the rumors that one day humans would attack. Eventually, Patry witnessed Licht receive a rare 4-leaf clover grimoire, and one day a violent magic tornado struck nearby. Licht rushed in to save a woman trapped inside, and that was none other than Tetia, a human noble. Patry was stunned when he learned that her brother Lumiere also possessed a 4-leaf clover grimoire just like Licht. The bond between the elf leader and the human princess blossomed into love. When Licht later revealed that Tetia was pregnant with twins, it was hailed as a symbol of unity between their races. Together, Licht and Lumiere dreamed of a peaceful future where they coexisted. But that dream, it would soon become a nightmare. The wedding massacre occurs. The entire elf tribe was slaughtered by humans, or so it seemed. Licht's despair turned his 4-leaf grimoire into a 5-leaf, and that's exactly what a certain devil was waiting for. Zagrid, the word-soul devil from the underworld, had orchestrated the entire thing. He possessed a noble from the Clover Kingdom, manipulating ancient humans into fearing the elves' power, and used the first Wizard King's magic tool to wipe them out during the wedding ceremony. A tool that was originally created to help the weak, but it was just exploited. So Zagrid needed Licht's despair to corrupt his grimoire and his body, so he could manifest in the living world. But Licht, he was like, bitch, I ain't no devil's puppet. He turned himself into a demon to stop Zagrid from taking control. But his best friend Lumiere now had the responsibility and no choice but to kill him. However, Tetia's unborn children survived, but Zagrid said, I ain't done yet. He used forbidden magic and the magic stones to cast a reincarnation spell, locking the souls of the elves into time itself. For 500 years, they waited until Patry was reincarnated into William's body. Patry believed humans were always the enemy. He formed the Eye of the Midnight Sun, beginning reviving the other elves, and planned to bring Licht back using the Shadow Palace and the magic stones. So eventually, with the reincarnation ritual activated, many humans are overtaken by elf souls, including several magic knights. Fueled by vengeance, they begin their onslaught on the Clover Kingdom. But guess what? Once again, Zagrid hijacked their entire plan. He revealed himself to Patry and mocked him for being a stupid idiot. So Patry, what else could he do? He snapped. Consumed by guilt and rage, he turned into a dark elf, his soul twisted by despair. His magic became feral and lost all control. But this time, the cycle of hatred breaks. Asta entered Patry's consciousness and confronted him. He forced him to face his guilt, not with hate, but hope. Patry remembered who he used to be, and this time he chose redemption. When reunited with Licht, Patry broke down, and that's when he made a choice to save the Clover Kingdom even if it killed him. Zagrid tried to complete his plan one last time, but he faced Asta, Yuno, and all the elves. They are all united for the first time, and together they did the impossible. They destroyed Zagred's heart, something thought to be impossible for any devil. Zachary then resealed the Shadow Palace, and the elves' souls were finally freed, finding peace for once. But remember, Yuno is also one of them. Licht's other twin son's soul is living inside him, but Yuno's human consciousness stayed dominant. This is why during the elf reincarnation arc, Yuno partially awakened but remained himself. But because of his dual origin, Yuno was chosen by two grimoires, the Wind from the Clover Kingdom and the Star Magic grimoire from his original lineage as a Spade Royal, gifted by his biological father, Lois Burial. So to find out how he will beat Lucius with Zetten, watch this video on your screen right now.